Hey everyone, in today's video we will be covering why Deathslinger is my current main killer in Dead by Daylight. First we're going to cover why I chose Deathslinger as a main killer, then we will dig into what you should consider when creating a perk build, and lastly we will talk about my current perk build. So why Deathslinger? The reason I chose Deathslinger is to minimize my chase time. His harpoon gun allows you to shoot survivors at a distance and reel them in to be injured. This aspect of the game is very similar to first-person shooter games, which are the games that I am used to and grew up with. That is the main reason Deathslinger was a good choice for me. However, everyone does not have the same experience in games, and that is why certain killers are better for different people. This brings us to our next section, what to consider for a perk build. There are 4 different categories to consider when creating a perk build. What are my weaknesses? What are my strengths? What is important to me in the game? And what perks would go best with the current killer I use? Now, my weaknesses are getting loot by good survivors and spending too much time chasing one survivor. It is important to know when to give up on a particular survivor and find one that is easier to catch. My strengths are my harpoon shots and my mind games that I use when chasing survivors. Good survivors will be able to determine your patterns of tricks you use when you are chasing them. This is why it is important to change up your tactics, especially when you find yourself chasing the same survivor from earlier in the trial. The important things to me as a killer are to keep survivors off generators, keeping the survivors busy with other things besides the generators, and generator regression. Keeping this constant pressure on the survivors makes it extremely difficult for any generator progress to be made. Without adequate pressure, a good group of survivors can have all 5 generators completed within a few minutes. Now, this brings us into our next section, which is my perk build. After taking everything from the last section into consideration, I chose these 4 perks: Thanatopia, Nurse's Calling, Hex Ruin, and Hex Devour Hope. Now, Thanatopia is helpful to slow down generator repair speeds. Also, if you are having difficulty downing a survivor, you can simply injure them and then leave them with the 5% repair penalty. Nurse's Calling can help you spot the survivors who escaped you from a chase. You can also find new survivors that are trying to help their injured teammates. Whatever the case, Nurse's Calling can help you to find survivors when you are having trouble finding any. These 2 perks allow us to keep the pressure applied to the survivors, but now we will get into how to keep those survivors off the generators. Ruin makes staying on generators until it is completed a priority for survivors. It forces them to take the time to go find the Ruin Hex Totem and cleanse it. If you keep the pressure applied and continue to circulate the map and run the survivors off the generators, Ruin will continue to make generator repairing a drawn-out process. However, there are survivors that will ignore finding Ruin and just deal with the pressure that you are applying. This is where our last perk becomes extremely useful. Devour Hope will force the survivors to stop working on the generators and begin looking for the Devour Hope Hex Totem. If they do not find Devour Hope quickly, it may become a very short match for the survivors. During this whole time, it is important to continuously apply pressure and circulate the map for survivors. Never spend too much time on one survivor, otherwise the other survivors will complete generators and cleanse those hex totems. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and keep an eye out for those weekend streams. Thank you so much for the support, everyone, and I hope you all have a great day.